So here is the Chapter 3 review. First page is a lot of vocab. What is a slide? A translation. Good. All right, what'd you get for number 2? Lines that do not intersect and do not lie in the same plane. They're not parallel. Skew. Good. If they intersect to form right angles, what do we call them? Good. And the last one, they lie in the same plane, but they don't intersect. Parallel? Anyone?
Yeah.
All right.
This last one.
Any questions? I'll scroll down to finish the bottom. We're just reviewing today. Questions? All right, down at the bottom, it says if two lines are perpendicular, they form how many right angles? 4, very good. Two adjacent acute angles that form a blank angle are complementary. Complementary is 90, so what angle would they have to form? A right angle, good. Number 7, if blank angles form a linear pair and are also congruent, then they have to be right angles.
2.
That's 2. And then all right angles are congruent. I'll leave that up there for a second. Let me know if you guys have any questions. So in this next section, we are saying parallel, perpendicular, or skew. I think it's easiest to trace the lines. So for example, line AF is over here. Line DC is like coming out at you at the top. What type of lines are those? Skew, yes. They're not in the same plane and they're not going to intersect. All right, next we have line AD. So that's like the top of the box, closest to us. And then line BC, so like the top back of the box. What do those look like? Parallel. And you can use the symbols if you'd like. Save yourself some time. And then the last one we have DG, so like the front corner of the box, and GH. Those are perpendicular. Again, symbols are just fine. All right, next we have some perpendicular lines. Line G and E are perpendicular. Remember, when they're perpendicular, 4 right angles are formed, so you can go ahead and label those as all being right angles if you'd like. We also know that line G and line F are perpendicular, so again, 4 right angles. Then you're asked if there's enough information for this statement. This one right here. So angle 6 is congruent to angle 10. Is there enough information to conclude that?
Yes.
Yes, because they're both right. What kind of angles? Their corresponding angles will only show that they're congruent if these lines are parallel, which you have not been given that information. So you can't use corresponding angles. They're both what, though? Yeah, so the reason would be that all right angles are congruent. Quiet, guys. So yes, all right angles are congruent. Last class, a lot of people try to do the same thing. Say corresponding if you missed that announcement. We don't know that these lines are parallel, so the transversal is not something we should really be using to show that things are congruent. However, we do know that they're both right angles and all right angles are congruent. What about the next one? Angle 6 and angle 9. Are those congruent? You can't use things like alternate exterior because we don't know that the lines are parallel. Do you know anything about the measure of angle 9? No. So there is actually not enough information for this one. This section is all about right angles. So again, don't try to use like corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior. Just use right angles. Yes, if they're right angles. If they're not enough information. All right, 7 and 11. Yes.
So yeah, it could just be right angles.
What?
So there's got to be right angles towards the
Yeah, on this section is all about the right angles. So like 7 and 11, are those congruent?
No. Yes.
Yeah.
The first one.
No. So they're both what?
Right angles.
Yeah, both right angles, and all right angles are congruent. Good. So it seems like you guys are getting like the yes, no part. You just need to study the why. All right, so your options here are corresponding alternate exterior, alternate interior, same side interior. So angle 12 and angle 15, what are those?
Same side too.
Same side interior, which is D. So you can just write D. 10 and 13. Same side interior, D again. 17, number 1. 9 and 16 are alternate exteriors, so that's B. 17, take 2. 10 and 14 are corresponding, so that's A. 12 and 16 are also corresponding, so A again. And then 10 and 15. Alternate interior. They're inside the other two lines, so that's C. So just look at what they're giving you and try to decide, is that enough information to show that the lines are parallel? Ways to show lines are parallel would be like corresponding angles are congruent. Alternate interior angles are congruent. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. Or same side interior angles are supplementary. Do we have any of those things here?
Yes.
What are these?
Those are.
What type of angles are these?
Right.
No.
Those are alternate interior.
No.
Corresponding.
Those are corresponding, and they have the same measure. Is that enough to say that the lines are parallel?
No. It is.
It is, actually. So you're going to say yes, and the reason is that the corresponding angles are congruent. Now, every year someone tries to take a little shortcut on this section and they get it wrong. I need both pieces of information, that these are corresponding angles and that they're congruent, okay? Don't just say yes congruent or yes corresponding. I need to know what type of angles and what's so special about them. They're corresponding and they're congruent. Remember, alternate interiors can be congruent, alternate exteriors can be congruent, or you can be looking at same side interiors, and those need to add to 180. All right, 22. What type of angles are we looking at here? Vertical angles. Vertical angles are always congruent. So does that give us any information about parallel lines? No. So they might be. We're not sure. We're just going to say not enough information. Good. Nice work. All right, in this next section, you are trying to find the numbered angles. So the numbered angles would be like angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, angle 6. That just represents the angle that we're looking for. It has nothing to do with like 1 degree angle or a 2 degree angle or a 3 degree angle or a 3x. People are doing all sorts of crazy stuff on the quiz with these numbers, okay? All this does is represent the missing angle. Okay? What you're concerned with is how it's related to the other angle. What type of angles do I have here? These are what? Alternate exterior angles. And alternate exterior angles are? Or they're equal. So what's the measure of angle 1? 98 degrees. All right, 24. We're looking for the measure of angle 2. What type of angles are these? Same side interior. Same side interior angles are not congruent. What are they? Supplementary. So you're going to take 180 minus 70. That's going to be the measure of that angle. So here the measure of angle 2 is 110. Now, some students like to write an equation like the measure of angle 2 plus 70 equals 180, and then subtract the 70 from both sides. You'll still end up doing this math, 180 minus 70. So if you want to write out the extra steps, that's fine. If you just want to type it in the calculator, go for it. All right, number 25. What type of angles are we looking at? What's the relationship here?
Same side.
Same side interior. And same side interior are what? Add to 180. So start with 180. Take away the one you know. That'll give you the one you're looking for. What is it? Just 60. Yep. So the measure of angle 3 is 60 degrees. Great. All right, number 26. What am I looking at here? Alternate interior. And alternate interior angles are congruent.
75.
So it's going to be 75, yes. All right, what am I looking at here? Corresponding. And corresponding angles are congruent. So what's the measure of angle 5? 100. All right, and last one on this section. What are we looking at? Corresponding. So what's the measure of angle 6? Very good. Notice the only thing you're doing in this section is making them equal or subtracting the angle from 180. On your quiz, I saw more crazy math than I've ever seen in my life, okay? It's either the angle I give you or 180 minus the angle I give you. And you know because same side interiors add to 180. So same side interiors where you have that extra step. If it's corresponding, same side interior, if it's corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, that's where they're just the same. No math needed. Same number. Same side interiors where you do the subtraction. Now, I am going to mix these all up for the test tomorrow. So don't remember like same, 180, 180, same, because they won't be in that order tomorrow. Okay? Actually, try to memorize what they look like and why we're subtracting it from 180. You good?
217.
A translation, remember, is just a slide. So you are trying to see if one figure can slide over to make the other figure. No rotating, no flipping, no getting bigger, no getting smaller. What do you think on number 29?
No.
That's no, because look, the eyes like spin a little bit. So this is a no.
Yes.
This one is a yes. It's the exact same figure. It just slides over.
Yes.
No.
And this one is a no. It's kind of hard. Yes, this one is a little smaller than this one, so that's a no. Raise your hands if you have any questions. Once again, we are looking just to see if it's a slide. What do you think for number 32?
No. Yes. No.
No?
Yes.
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 And this one's a no. It's kind of hard to see on some of these, but this was definitely bigger than this one. All right, in this next section, you are supposed to describe the translation first using words and then using coordinate notation. So you'll have 2 answers for each of these. Now, you have to look at the letters. Do you see how this one just has an A and a B? And then this one over here has A prime and B prime. Everybody see the little primes? The original is the regular old letter. The new one is the prime. If you do them backwards, all these answers will be wrong. And you can start from A, you can start from B, it doesn't matter. I would use one to come up with like a theory, and then the other one to check your work. So, if you want to go from A to A prime, how do you have to move?
Left.
Left 2,
Up. 1, 2, 3.
So left 2 and then up 3. Now we can use the B's to verify that. If I go left 2 and up 3, I do end up at B prime. So I am confident with this answer. This is describing it in words. When you're describing it in coordinates, remember, you first describe the original figure. And all the original figures are the same. You're just saying, hey, I have some X's and I have some Y's. And I'm going to slide each of those points over by doing what? How do you go left? Subtract from the X. Good. How do you go up? Add to the Y. Very good. Changes side to side happen with the X. Right is positive, left is negative or minus. Up and down happens to the Y. Up you add, down you subtract. This is straight from section 3.7. So if you are stuck on this, we wrote out step by step how to do this in your notes. So use your notes when you're studying this evening. Any questions? All right, same thing on this next one. We want to start, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to start at C, count to C prime. So go from C to C prime. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So write 6. And then you go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So in words, I'm thinking write 6, up 4, but I'm going to use one of the other letters to check. I'll use D to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That works. 1, 2, 3, 4. That works as well. Now in coordinates, remember I'm starting at some X, Y. I'm going to slide over by doing what? X plus 6 because you're going right. Good. Y plus 4 because you're going up. Wonderful. What are your questions? All right, and then we have to write some equations on these last two. So what type of angles am I looking at on the first equation, number 37? What am I looking at? Corresponding. And corresponding angles are congruent. Congruent means equal. So I'm going to make the x plus 5 equal to 120. How do you get x by itself? Subtract 5 from both sides. Good. You get 115. Other angle combinations that will be the same as this are alternate interior and alternate exterior. So corresponding alternate interior, alternate exterior, you just set them equal to one another. Over here though, we have the oddball. These are same side interiors. Same side interiors are not equal, but I can still write an equation. What is the equation? Yeah, they have to add to 180. So I'll do 4x plus 100 equals 180. So they have to add together to give you 180. Then you still just solve this like regular. It's a two-stepper. So we'll subtract 100 from both sides. So 4x equals 80. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. What does x equal? What's 80 divided by 4? 20. Very good. So again, you have to know how to write the equation. Solving the equation is the easy part. That's just algebra. The geometry is writing the equation. So if you have congruent angles through corresponding alternate interior, alternate exterior, you just plop an equal sign in between the two expressions and solve. If you have same side interior, you have to put a plus sign in between and equal 180. Any questions?